Hi, my name is Chuck Jennels. I'm a 25-year member of the Roadrunners Prospectors Club and the GPEAA. The reason I'm doing this video is I've seen so many prospectors, especially new, that are out on the claims and can't find gold while they're panning. And the problem usually boils down to either technique or the type of pan that they're using. And it becomes very complicated, especially for a new member. There's so many pans on the market, and some of them are good and some of them aren't. And let's look at a few of these. This pan is a really cheap $3 pan. A lot of people use this because of the groove in the back, where if you're using mercury to clean up your gold, you can pour it off the back of the pan. It's a $3 pan, and the riffles are terrible. They're just a line in the pan. They're not an undercut riffle like they should be to catch the gold. Next is the Garrett pan. Now, you can tell they do a nice little design on the back. They've got fair riffles on the front, but look at the bottom. It's a little, like 6-inch bottom on this pan, and that isn't good. If you're trying to get your gold out of the black sand, you need the wide bottom on a pan so you can spread the black sand and get your gold out. This isn't a bad pan, but for me it's not what it needs to be to do what I want it to do. Next, we've got this pan. There's probably been a lot of you who've seen this pan. It's called the Trinity pan. Has a bunch of riffles, big ones, little ones, a fairly wide bottom. It's got a trap in the bottom and a sluice on the back, and it's an expensive pan in that I think it runs about $14 for this pan. I've used it. To me it's way too complicated, and the way the bottom is constructed, especially with this trap here, you're fighting all the time to get your gold out of the trap and out of the black sand in there, because it loads up there. And again, the bottom is domed, so it's hard to spread your gold in your black sand. Next, I've got a pan that very few people have probably seen. It's called a dry pan, and it's made out of metal. Has a nice little trap, and the process is you put your dirt in dry and you throw it in the air and work it around, and it should catch in this trap. I've used it. I much prefer a dry washer. I'm sorry, it's just I don't like it. Next, I have the new and improved Garrett pan. This is another Garrett that's called the Super Pan. It has nice deep undercut riffles, but there are only two, and a large bottom in it, and which you would think would be good, but again it's a slight dome to it, so it makes it harder to spread your material. So again, this isn't one that I would choose. Next pan is put out by the GPEAA. It's a good pan. Has good riffles and a nice wide bottom on it, and relatively inexpensive. I think these run $7 or $8 a piece. They're a little thinner than I would like, but this would be my second choice to buying a pan that will really catch the gold for you. And last but not least is a pan that, when these first came on the market, I had the prototype and I did some testing of this pan. Notice how many riffles there are, and the bottom is not domed. The bottom's nice and flat, and it's a big bottom. These are 14-inch pans, all these pans, by the way. They're all the same. If you're wanting to catch gold, the ProLine pan is the pan. It's a good all-around pan if you're going to do testing of a claim, if you're going to clean up cons out of a dredge, if you're going to clean up even out of a dry washer. But this is my preference, the #1 pan I would pick if I was going to buy a new pan. Next, I've got some smaller pans. Typically when we dry wash, we don't use the 14-inch pans because you don't get the concentrates out of your dry washer that you would out of a dredge or a high banker. Again, here's the Garrett pan. The riffles are okay, but look at the bottom. That bottom is only about a 3-inch bottom in it, and again, you don't get the cons that you have with a dredge, but trying to separate everything in that little bottom is a problem. Next, we got the Chinese pan again. The bigger bottom, which is good. The riffles, which are just a line in the plastic again, just a little ridge that makes it a little harder to clean up, unless you've been panning for years and years and years. I wouldn't recommend that one at all. The one I use for my dry washer is called the 1849 pan, and it's a the GPEAA and I believe this is a Joby pan put these out, and they're a really good pan. Nice wide bottom. Riffles aren't quite as deep on these, but they're much better than just a line in the pan. They're good for, like I said, this for dry washing or cleaning up black sands is all I would use these for, but this would be my #1 choice for that. So if you're going to a prospecting shop and you want to buy a gold pan, that's fine. The thing you don't want to do is buy a nice new $12 Proline pan and go out and decide, well, let's test it and see how good it is. You can't do that. You've got to season that pan. And the way you do that, you take soap and water. Some people use a, they call them scrubbies. They're like a sponge with sandpaper on the back. Put a squirt of dishwasher soap in there and do the whole pan, all the riffles, all the edges, every inch of the pan, scour it with that soap and water and clean it out. The reason you do that is these pans come out of an injection molded machine, and there's a release agent in there that's oil based, and it will float your gold away. So you have to season it that way. And the other thing is, any of these pans also are very smooth, and to make it easier for your gold to stick to it, take a handful of sand when you go out to the creek, throw it in your pan and just rub it all over that pan and scratch the daylights out of it. The more little spots you have in there, the better it's going to catch your gold. And that's just an easy thing to do, and it will really help you find the gold. Don't put great big rocks in there and scrape them around. You don't want gouges, you just want it roughed up. Next, you get those pans. You have to work with a pan to be a good gold panner. And you use pans for everything. You use it with a sluice, you use it with a dry washer, you use it with a dredge, you use it with a high banker, and you use it for final cleanups. You just have to be a good panner. So to help you with that, the next time you're in your backyard, grab a handful of dirt, throw it in your pan, and get a tub of water, get a handful of BBs and throw them in there, 5 or 6, and pan them out and see how many you lose. Keep doing that till you don't lose any BBs. And that'll give you good practice in panning and picking the style you want to do. And there's hundreds of videos on YouTube on how to pan for gold. Some of them are really good, some of them are really bad. Pick a system that you like, that works for you, and do that. That's it. Easy as can be. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up or subscribe. Thank you much.